well.
PRS Paradigm Review Show. Ross Hallam, Jack Death. You can subscribe here at youtube.com/PlanetXFilm. You can subscribe there at youtube.com at Moss Shinobi. Shout out to Fire Picks. Hunted trailer is in the chat. It's also below in the description. If you haven't seen The Hunted, you're on the wrong channel. You can actually just bounce out and go watch CNN or MS Now or Fox News or something if that's your deal. If you have, you're in the right place. So 2003, it's hilarious because me and Gaz have been talking about this movie for like we were talking about stuff that just like had nothing, like random action movies. We're like, hey, so what's that Hunted movie with Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro? We brought it up like 50 times.
But yet there's like several films with that title. And then folks, remember there was like 1 week, maybe two, when we mentioned The Other Hunted with Christopher Lambert from Highlander. And we were talking about that. And then for some reason, well, it's a pretty obvious reason, because it's the Hunted with Christopher Lambert is about a secret ninja organization. And there's a notable train scene on there, pretty sick action scene. So my mind just naturally thought, oh, that's the one we're doing. And then, of course,
there's a notable train scene in this as well.
Yeah, exactly. There was the confusion. And then it was, no, you remember the other Hunted film we've only mentioned like 60 times? It's that. But it's a really good movie.
I'm hoping you guys have seen this. So, I mean, there's a little bit of flavor of like the most dangerous game in here in that first scene where he kills the hunters, and we're going to cover that. There's not that much on Wiki, guys, so we're just going to go off my official PXF notes and just talk to you guys in the chat. Most likely, we'll go through the Wiki, but it's not very long. So the most dangerous game, obviously, I thought you guys would like the parallel there. This is also William Friedkin, the director of The Exorcist. So for all the Zodiac heads, Gaz was asking me about The Exorcist letter last show when we did Vanishing Point. So go check that out in addition to what we covered with the Richard Grinnell theories relating to Vanishing Point, the Zodiac, LA Times letter, and Donna Lass, missing persons cold case. So, obviously Zodiac said, The Exorcist is the finest satirical comedy I've ever seen. But I was just telling Gaz I miss this director because he has a lot of good work. Most of it I've seen, such as The Exorcist and the bigger stuff. But obviously, Gaz and I were talking about a couple of the films that I haven't seen. But obviously, Rules of Engagement is the film he directed 3 years before The Hunted. He directed Blue Chips, which, that's not like, an action or a crime movie or anything, but Nick Nolte and Shaquille O'Neal was a big deal in the 90s, obviously, because Shaq became probably the biggest superstar the NBA has ever seen. I think Rampage does that. That might, I have to check Rich's notes, because Rampage might have some connection to the Zodiac. That is 87. And then Gaz was talking about To Live and to Die in LA, 85. Cruising is an Al Pacino movie where he goes undercover in New York, like the homosexual serial killer scene. Sorcerer is 77. You said you couldn't remember if you saw Sorcerer or not, Gaz?
Not sure, to be honest.
So I know that's a big deal. Everybody always talks about that one. It's like a late 70s grindhouse movie. And then a little bit before that, The Exorcist, and then The French Connection. I'm kind of amazed by this dude's he's got everything in there. He's got crime, horror, action, thriller. Like, this guy is so solid. Very practical director.
I think, and I'm not 100% again, because it might be a very long time ago since I saw it. I think I've seen Killer Joe, which was, that was kind of a Western-ish movie. I think he
did that one too. So that's this dude's all over the place, man. I don't know how much of any of his stuff is known. Looks like he's got some mid-60s stuff, but rest in peace to William Friedkin. Obviously,
definitely,
became super legendary. Obviously, it's kind of crazy when you have something as big as like The Exorcist that early in your career, like me and Gaz were saying about some other situations. But I feel like because of that, then people will be less likely to look at like The Hunted because it's early 2000s, and they think, well, Friedkin peaked back in the early 70s with The Exorcist. Not in my opinion, because Gaz and I both rate this as a high. You know what I found that was interesting, Gaz? Ebert wrote a review of The Hunted, and he was super complimentary of it, saying like Benicio's solid, Tommy Lee Jones is solid, practical sets, practical fights, not CGI. So I mean, he had everything in there. Really, that we don't always agree with like the big reviewers, right? Sometimes me and Gaz are a little bit more hard R grindhouse, but there's definitely a few that Ebert has like been in line with us. Like, hey, this is solid action, solid pacing, solid chasing. The French Connection, which we didn't even mention. Go ahead, Gaz.
No, 100% right. And I still feel this film is criminally underrated. It is super rated low, which is insane if you consider it to all the garbage that is out. Because this is well paced, it's well balanced, there's good performances from the cast. The action scenes, particularly the two notable knife scenes between Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro, are very, very good. So good. There's notable people that are knife weapons experts who've done Kali, Eskrima, have broken those scenes down, Ross, to show you, look, this is how they put it together. This is actually pretty accurate. This is dope. And
I do want to cover the fight choreography. I should have dual streamed this on Mosh Shinobi if you want. I didn't know if you wanted me to, because it does have
we could have. We can
you can re-upload. You can download and re-upload if you need to.
Yeah, we can put it on there.
I'll send you the file.
Yeah, thanks, bro. If you think as well, before this, not the same character, and I know people can, I know I've seen some of them joke on the knife scenes in this film I'm about to mention, but I still think it's interesting for Tommy Lee Jones, an actor, Under Siege, knife fighting in there, and then we have obviously much better knife fighting now in The Hunted, which is pretty incredible. There's even, Ross, there's the comparisons to The Deadliest Game 2, as you were saying, Rambo First Blood, particularly on the opening, even has Predator OG vibes, particularly when
I have that in my notes.
In the trees. I think it's really good. The score complements those scenes as well. It has that same tension and atmosphere, so it's a film I rate highly.
Apparently, Benicio brought in those Cali Filipino martial arts modern arnis experts, as you were saying, and I also want to point out that Tommy Lee Jones is 56 in this movie. I remember the first time I watched this on VHS. My family probably rented it, or I got it from the supermarket or something. I don't remember the exact details. But as Gaz and I have watched thousands of films over here, as you guys know. But when I watched this the first time, Gaz, like I was so blown away by the practical action, like, and it never crossed my mind that like Tommy Lee's in his late 50s and like that's unrealistic that he's fighting the younger guy and stuff like that. That was something that never occurred to me, just because Williams Friedkin's pacing is so good. You know, usually when Gaz and I have a con against a film we're reviewing, we're both usually like, okay, the pacing started diving in act 2 or act 3, but not with William Friedkin, because from his formula of The French Connection and arguably being the greatest chase director of all time, the pacing in this movie is like 90 minutes perfect. I can see why, if you're not like a bloody martial arts, like hard R, like fight movie type, like Gaz and I are, you know, that The Hunted wouldn't be for you. That's really the only criticism. Like, if you're not going to want to see the blood and the gore, which it's not for everybody, I get that. That's really the only downtrod that I could really see people holding against it if they just don't like action or hard R.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, definitely. And I think, Ross, because Tommy Lee's performance and the way they've put together the action scenes well, despite him, say, being more senior compared to his former student, it's convincing, because we both know people who can be more senior, very experienced, that can still put people down because they've kept themselves in shape. They've trained, obviously, to that high level. It's become natural to them.
Yep.
And Tommy does a good job. Yeah, exactly. So Tommy does a good job for presenting that. Not, for example, as we see in Game of Death with the gentleman coming down the stairs, who's probably best thing he says is when he's getting choked up, shit. He's about to... So, no, this is a positive example of it.
Hell yeah. Looks like has Pixie's got the knife breakdown there, so check that out, guys. Thanks for the link, Pixie, for anybody who wants to get into that. What else was I going to say about that? Well, I mean, you know, Gaz and I both train martial arts, and the senseis and the black belts were always way older than us, right? So when my brown belt sensei was punching through a cinder block, there's never a time when I was a white belt that I was like, I'm younger, I think I could probably get this guy if I got the speed, you know what I mean? My face probably would have got rocked in half.
Well, the thing is, it's like What I think's good and what's believable, this is a guy who's obviously been training people to kill Black Ops and
SOF
other
as well,
things.
special forces. Yeah.
Exactly. So when we hear about those people who've been ex-forces or even police authorities to that level, I'm skating around, obviously, with it being YouTube. So they present that well, how it would be if you encountered a guy experienced from that background, just because he's more senior now, unless he's like had an absolute, breakdown and totally let himself go. That guy is still going to be dangerous. He's still going to be capable of defending himself and taking out most people, unless it's, like I say, one of his former recruits who then is surpassed him.
Yeah. Which they never established in this plot line. Obviously, L.T. Bonham, he's living up in British Columbia working with the wildlife reservists. You have, I guess our equivalent to Fish and Game. I'm not sure what you guys call it out there, Gaz, but I'm sure you guys have, those kind of marshals that work out in the wilderness. And so he's still keeping the survivalism and the tracking skills going in a environment, like Gaz knows, I'm from New England. It gets, especially it's called the Great North Woods. Once you get past Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire up to the Canadian border, it's pretty hard. The White Mountains, if you will, Gaz. It's pretty. I've been on top of Mount Washington, and it's
where John Fury lives, isn't it?
No man alive could survive it except John Fury. Eat dirt. I came up in New Hampshire eating dirt, as Gaz knows. Me and John Fury, and up there in British Columbia, man, out in those harsh winters, most people can't. So if you're used to living in a big city downtown with the grocery store 5 minutes away, I'm not sure you could survive in a wood cabin with basically nothing. You know what I mean? So definitely, I would also say the survivalism parallel. The Revenant, guys, that we need to check out that 70s movie, Enter the Wilderness. That's I love these tracking characters and tracking movies, and there's not that really many trackers, or other than some of the native, the native trackers, from this type of plot line. So there's.
I think something that people forget with this film, and I mention this a lot when we cover movies, even ones I don't enjoy. I do think the cinematography is good as well, Ross, when they're showing you shots of the forest. In the sewers, etc., when he's taking people out. A lot of people forget that because I think the action scenes are so good and everything's put together so well that kind of falls into the background.
Sure. And the hardcore pacing as well. I mean, I noticed that as well. I was thinking maybe whoever helped out Friedkin with that, probably his director of photography, does the lighting, cinematographer, as you said, probably does. I was going to say the location scouting, love the cliffs, even the urban scenes downtown Portland, how they use the train, the fountain, and the tower. We're going to break all that stuff down for you guys. So without further ado, well, here, let me start with synopsis, and we'll do some genres. So as you guys know, The Hunted, 2003. Now I'm on Friedkin's page. The Hunted 2003. Tommy Lee Jones, Benicio del Toro, an FBI deep woods tracker attempts to capture a trained assassin who has made a sport of hunting humans. So, I mean, the sport of hunting humans sounds like Most Dangerous Game. Yeah. Genres: cop drama, police procedural, psychological drama, psychological thriller, serial killer for all the Zodiac heads, action, crime, drama, thriller. I think they went a little heavy on the cop drama, police procedural, because there's a little bit of that in Act 1, but it pretty soon gets to a chase scene that's survivalism, right? After the chase of the second act. So yeah, I mean, if you like that thing, I mean, I wouldn't say this is like Joker 2 where they just sit in court the whole time and nothing happens, you know what I mean? So Aaron Hallam, he didn't answer any of their questions. He just dropped the name of the of the spec op, and then Bonham burst in. Don't talk about that. The feds came in 5 minutes and they were like, we have paperwork, this guy's not allowed to talk about this, and then so that lasted not even 15 minutes, you know what I mean? But yeah. All right, let's take it over to the wiki, folks. Shout out to everybody who came through, by the way. Any questions for me, put them in the chat. The Hunted is a 2003 American action thriller directed by William Friedkin. It stars Tommy Lee Jones as a retired civilian contractor and SOF trainer who is tasked with tracking down a former student of his, played by Benicio del Toro, who has gone rogue. Connie Nielsen also stars. The film was released on March 14th, 2003. We're just a couple weeks off, guys, but not bad. It received mixed reviews from critics and grossed $46 million against a $55 million budget, which is lame, but very good-looking movie for a $55 million budget, as me and Gasper said. I mean, you can't spot any CGI or any goofs, really. Really good stuff with Portland. Definitely, like, if you're looking for like that Rambo First Blood vibe, like me and Gaz were saying, I'd say this is like the spiritual sequel to it. Like, special forces soldier comes home from a modern warfare battle, has PTSD, a little bit of Most Dangerous Game. Hallam is certainly more unhinged than John Rambo is, because Rambo was just like popping up on guys and punking them, whereas Hallam was like throwing knives in dudes' necks and such. But you get the idea.
I mean the opening scene, well, the second opening scene past the flashback, I guess.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
Definitely an ode to First Blood.
100%, yeah, absolutely. With the whispering through the bushes and such. Let's do some plot. Aaron Hallam, a special forces operator, successfully assassinates a Serbian military leader in Kosovo War, receiving a Silver Star but suffering from mental trauma due to the death and destruction he witnessed. In Oregon's, let's just break the flashback down first, guys. Very, I could see like how he carried over like that whole like Rules of Engagement was such like an inflammatory film in terms of content, and what it covered was basically talking about the Afghanistan war. But I think Friedkin is like, hey, how can I take it up a notch from that? And then it's like, obviously, The Hunted, because I don't know that many movies that tackle the Serbia and Kosovo conflict. I think Behind Enemy Lines with Owen Wilson and Gene Hackman, and then possibly Enemy of the Gates. I'm not sure if that was Russia or there. But other than that, I don't think there's that many films that tackle this topic. And I remember at the time, for a lot of you guys, it's going to be way before your time because it's like 90s stuff. But this was in the news nonstop in the circuits here during the Clinton era. Like, that's all they were covering. Like, oh my God, Bill Clinton is involving it. Like, at the time, I was probably too young to understand some of the geopolitical conflicts. But like, when you look at what happened there with the Serbians, with the genocide, what they call it back then, ethnic cleansing, I could kind of see why Clinton got involved with that one, because you don't want it going down the road to another like war. It's a bit like saying, should the U.S. and the U.K. Have gotten involved in World War II? Well, yeah, obviously. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't just let the conflict fester. But I don't know what your thoughts are on that, Gab. If you guys know any of other films that cover that.
Pretty much the same as you from what you've just said. It's like you have a grasp of, yes, this is bad, but you're not quite aware of all the as you said, politics behind it. Obviously, do when you get a bit older. Strangely enough, I did see a film probably 2 years ago or so, which was set in this era, and it was showing you a lot of the violence that was happening in that conflict with both various paramilitary forces and the actual official forces. And it was weird, Ross, because whilst all this was happening, it was a pretty brutal scene involving a village, out there in the Balkans. And it was weird because you think you're watching a war movie. It wasn't a great film. And then it turned into this horror film where they came across a vampire who literally just started taking out everybody. Both sides didn't care, and it was quite strange. It was like, well, where did this come from? Very strange comparison, but that's literally one of the only other films I've seen this in.
Yeah, I love those genre switches when the war films turn into a horror. Obviously, like Overlord, and we've never gotten like a decent like Wolfenstein that could go down that route. But for sure, no, definitely interesting. But just to bring it back on here real quick, and also I forgot to do the drops, so I'm going to do those after this flashback, and then we'll go into the first timeline scene. Basically shows the soldiers basically killing those civilians, Gaz, for those who don't know. That's what I was trying to remember. It probably was
Behind Enemy Lines is the only one.
Was Russia, but I was just trying to remember. I don't know how far Serbia and Kosovo is off that Russian front territory. What do you call that? Border. So basically, some cool scenes with Aaron Hallam. I really like the way that they established his character, Gaz, because obviously in Rambo First Blood, they never show you Rambo in combat. You just assumed like some bad stuff happened to him. There were some brief flashbacks in the police station when he had the scars on his chest, and they tried to wash him down. They're like, let's give this guy a haircut, wash him down. So Rambo had those like PTSD things, but it doesn't deep dive into what they did with like Aaron Hallam here, which it shows. Eventually, it's going to show you his like training montage, but it came right into this. I like how it started right with the action, right in the mission. And then obviously what he witnessed happened to like the civilians with like that girl going through the body is like, looking for her family. And then obviously he what would you call that? He isolated the officer, right? Because he saw what happened. He was like, oh no, I can't. So he snuck around with the kind of stealth tactics that LT Bonham taught him, right? And then if you guys have seen the movie, you know what happened to the officer. We can't really say, but a lot of like PTSD that Hallam has comes from like how he brutalized that officer because he's seen what he did to civilians, So pretty crazy. It was like the guy giving the order to basically terminate the civilians, and he just like looked on with cold blood, like he just didn't care because they were from another ethnic group. So Hallam handled that, which was his assignment in being sent out there in the conflict. Pretty soon after that, guys, if I'm not mistaken, it really nice shot of him upside down lapel down that wall, guys, right before he falls through to get the officer. Some nice SOF tactics. And then the PTSD flashbacks, his medal ceremony of his unit, getting all the silver stars, and basically goes to that first scene that you were talking about. But first we go back to LT Bonham, I think in the great out there in the Vancouver, British Columbia territory. Enemy of the Gates is crazy. He got that officer out of there. So you finally seen this one, Pixie? Did you watch it last night? It used to be on Netflix. I think they took it off. But you can rent this on YouTube, guys. I think it's on Amazon as well. So Hallam Special Forces successfully assassinates a Serbian military leader in Kosovo War, receiving a Silver Star but suffering from mental trauma due to death and destruction he witnessed. In Oregon's Silver Falls State Park, he confronts two men who are deer hunters with sniper rifles, whom he believes are not genuine hunters. They chase him but fall victim to his traps. Hallam kills both of them with a knife. We can let you break some of this down, guys, if you have anything on it.
I just feel it's very much a callback to First Blood.
Yeah.
When John Rambo's hunting the people who are hunting him in the forest scene.
I'll give you a war you won't believe.
Yeah. I'll give you, as you said, the sounds of the whispers that asked me for that tension. There's a good shot where you see Benicio del Toro in one of the trees, overlooking the two guys. That immediately made me think of Predator 1. In fact, this whole scene did as well, not just Rambo First Blood, because the way they used the whispers, which I know is in First Blood 2. But I just feel that, and the score complements this scene as well. It adds to the tension. Very good when he takes them out. You see the first, one of the first, I guess, current instances of him using his knife fighting work. The angles are good, very brutal and quick, trapping the two hunters and then taking them out. Kind of gives you a little bit more of an insight into his psychological makeup, the PTSD he's suffering. So it really does set the scene very nicely.
Yeah, they nailed the paranoia. And so before that, LT Bonham is Tommy Lee Jones, and they go to what he's got going on. He's up in British Columbia living in the cabin, like me and Gaz were saying. He's tracking a wolf because he's tracking the blood tracks, and then he creates a remedy that I think that's the hemlock or the pine that he chews, Gaz, and he puts it on the paw to regenerate the paw, but he gets him out of the stairs. So I knew I was going to love this movie, guys, when he goes into that local bar and asks anybody if they've been leaving stairs out there. Their initials. That's mine. Wraps the snare around his head and slams his face on the table. And then he's like, no more snare. He tells the rest of the guys, like, no more snares. I just always thought that was an awesome intro for LT Bonham's character. You know what I mean? Just a sick introduction. You know what I mean? So, keep it moving. And since there's not much going on in the chat, guys, we're just going to rip the drops real quick. So Camera X out now on Tubi. Make sure to like and watch list that. Skate to Hell DVD is out on Amazon, and I think you can stream it on Prime. I think there might be Blu-rays out. I'm not sure. The Thing expanded. I think the pre-orders ended, so if you didn't get your name in, I don't know if it's going to happen. You might have missed it, but at least when it drops, you guys can get whatever packages they drop. And final announcement, The Crow final trailer is out now on Wet Paint Pictures channel. Go over there to Wet Paint, and shout out to Cody. Go subscribe to Wet Paint Pictures. And the release date on their YouTube, Wet Paint Pictures, is April 24th, the full movie, The Crow Days of Sodom. So go check that out, guys. Looks sick. You can see your boy take a punch at the end of the trailer, that big fight when he's coming down the aisle at the church pews. I think I'm the guy who first punches with a left that he drops. So look out close. You got to slow it down to see me, but I got dusted by the Crow in that trailer, so I'm sure Gaz was happy.
I was, yeah. It reminded me of when he got strangled in that other one for years ago.
Yeah.
Last time we wanted to do that for years.
Well, wait till you see how the rest of that Crow fight pans out. I'm sure you're going to be quite satisfied with the final fight, guys. You especially. But pop over to the Patreon. We're definitely going to do some more Most Dangerous Game over there. We're going to do Deadliest Prey to see how that Dog Dookie sequel turns out when they come revisit it 28 years later. And then I think we have some other stuff. Yeah, it's insane. I think we have some other stuff of the 2022 Most Dangerous Game remake as well. So those are the drops, guys. Go check that stuff out. Any questions for me, just put them in the chat or the comments after the show. So yeah, the First Blood type scene, 2 rifle hunters. So they give the federal officer comes to Bonham, gives him the file. They fly him down on the helicopter, and he looks at the files on the flight. He obviously knows that it's Hallam, or he suspects that it's Hallam. Episode 5, the Lake Herman Road ambush. Expect it soon, within the next couple of months. We're probably maybe about halfway done editing. That's the best I can do on Zodiac. I don't really have any live shows or anything like that planned. But yeah, we'll get, as soon as 5's done, we'll start editing 6. And what up, Cheryl? And then I got to go to Berryessa in September to shoot 7. So there's your schedule. But get ready to just wait for some long editing. PXF, number 1 on YouTube. Like, sub, and share. You can click the join button for a membership. You're going to want to like and sub. It's a lock-in for a long one. So he gets down there. Once he gets on the scene, they're saying it was like, what, guys? They're saying it was like multiple enemies with an axe. And he's telling him, like, it's one guy with a knife. And how do you know? Because he threw his knife at the tree right there and da-da-da-da. So he gets onto the trail. He eventually finds Hallam's stuff in the tree, in the cave. And then they have their first scrap. They kind of do like a fencing type thing, guys.
Yeah.
Kind of face off to level check,
feeling each other out a bit. Yeah,
and then they go for a warm up, and then they have a bit of a roll. Oh yeah, no, that's a crazy movie. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that's a wild film.
Welcome Cheryl as well.
The Somnambulist. So I'm gonna ask you guys, because I don't know if I missed this or if you recall it anytime. So when he says, like, hey, you didn't answer my letters, does Bonham ever tell Hallam why he didn't answer the letters? It's just because he didn't want to be involved in the...
I don't think he did. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember him actually stating if he did or not, no.
Well, he definitely got them, but as far as answering, you know what I mean? Like, so, like...
I mean, and in the film definitely shows that he did get them as well, especially even more so at the end.
I think he just didn't want to be writing letters because he thought that, like, Hallam was going to talk about the missions or whatever, and he's just, like, sworn to secrecy, you know what I mean?
I think so.
But if we missed that and you guys have the answer, feel free to put it in the comments. But that was just, like, I don't know if that was a plot hole.
Well, I'm going with that. I mean, it's obvious the guy's been trained in assassination, Black Ops, etc. When the police first get him, and Tommy Lee Jones is quickly, do you want to get yourself killed?
Yeah, we're coming to that. Operation Black Eagle Mongoose.
Yeah.
That's basically the FBI rolls up and Hallam gets tranked, and that's how they take him into custody originally the first time. So for all dope intro scenes so far.
Did you like that? I'm going to say there's spoilers here, folks. That first face-off they have, because it's kind of like the forerunner to the final fight that they have.
Oh, hell yeah.
You know, I liked that linkage. Yeah. That was good.
Same. There's a lot of those juxtapositions. I noticed another one too when Bonham is running across those water fountains in Portland, and they kind of do that lower edge, and that's gonna be like, okay, they're gonna fight on the waterfall cliff at the end. It was kind of it was like another cliff side. So like you said, if that was cinematographer or DP, whoever, obviously like the director doesn't pick every shot or location scout, ridiculously good job on that. So meanwhile, we and Gaz covered some of this, but we'll rip through Wiki anyway. Meanwhile, L.T. Bonham, a former survival instructor who instructed Hallam, lives secluded in British Columbia, rescues an injured white wolf caught in a snare, treats it, and confronts the man responsible for the trap. Later, the FBI approaches Bonham for help in capturing Hallam. Bonham hesitantly joins the FBI task force led by Abby Durrell and proves that Hallam, not multiple attackers, killed the hunters. He convinces Abby to let him track Hallam alone, but must carry a radio. Bonham finds Hallam's belongings in a cave, encounters him. Hallam explains he killed the hunters because he believed they were government agents sent to kill him. Despite Bonham's attempts to persuade him to surrender, they fight, and Hallam is tranquilized and arrested by the FBI using Bonham's radio signal. So we're coming to the interrogation. I can't remember if Abby Durrell, who I believe is Connie Nielsen, is that the actress that was married to Tom Brady? Think it possibly is, before his second wife, or either that it's the other actress from The Fugitive, but it's one of them.
Well,
it's possible. I'm not sure.
That in the background.
I'm not guaranteed on that one. When during interrogation, Hallam is uncooperative and fixated on discussing animals rather than his actions. He only wants to speak with Bonham, who advises him against revealing military secrets. Abby learns from Bonham that his father prevented him from enlisting after losing his brother in Vietnam. Instead, Bonham became a tracker. Hallam is handed over to current operators of his former unit, led by Dale Hewitt, who warns Hallam can't be criminally prosecuted due to classified military assignments. On the way to transfer him, Hallam realizes he is to be executed to keep silent and escapes killing the operative. So basically, he starts rambling about like chicken slaughter and animal rights and such as a metaphor for him hunting those humans earlier. And then he starts talking about Operation Black Eagle Mongoose, and that's when Bonham bursts in and tells him you can't talk about classified information. So those first, like, was that not the local authorities? That was the chief when he walked in, and he was like, I guess he said, well, this was on federal land. So because it's on federal land, that made it the FBI. Because I'm going to be honest, like how disorganized those cops were in that first scene catching him up until Bonham helped him trank him. I was like, this seems way more like local PD than it does the FBI. Like the feds couldn't possibly be this unorganized. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm a little unclear on that it was just Portland feds operating at an extremely low level.
Very much so. I think that's all we can go with.
Oh, we can like surmise from that, because then when it doesn't even say who the agents are, other than like they're from Hallam's old unit, but you basically assume that those are like CIA spooks if they came from the agency. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, and he gives them the paperwork. But did you have time to read that letter? It was just like he was enlisted, so he's ours. Basically, but I don't know whose authority that was on. That's got to either be the agency or like Department of Justice or the Pentagon or something. That's the only,
I suppose I'm clutching at straws here because I obviously rate this film highly and I enjoyed it a lot. But somebody that capable and dangerous, who's taken out trained people, government operatives after Bonham. They're only going to give him so much time. Then they would have brought a team in to take that guy out.
Oh yeah,
I suppose that's the only criticism. And I am thinking again of the various Rambo movies where they kind of talk to is it Colonel Troutman, and I think they do that in some of the movies. Like, right, if you don't get this guy soon, we're going to bring a team in to take him out. Which
did not work in Rambo and wouldn't have worked on Hallam either. But there is that Troutman line, like, if you're going to send that many, then you better send one thing. What's that? A good supply of body bags. And when Bonham burst into that meeting, you saw he had that similar, like, if you go after my boy, it was like almost the exact same. That was definitely a Rambo homage. Yeah, it was like the same line, which is dope. I mean, Gaz and I are both fine with the the Rambo homage. So basically, those dudes, essentially, what they do is what Gaz said. They sent that team, disguised as the agents, because when they transport him in the prisoner truck, they were just going to dose him anyway. Dale was going to dose him. So we can break that scene down, Gaz.
That scene was sick.
So I was wondering at what point it was going to go horribly, because I knew it was coming based on scenes previously established in the movie. And let me see. So there's like obviously that microdose injection kill of the poison, but the inhalant. But right when Benicio, or should I say Hallam, wraps the chain around the dude's neck, and the driver turns around and looks to the thing, and the dude headshots the driver in the forehead. I'm like, come on, dude, you're some elite SOF agent, and I get there's times when you're shooting under fire, but isn't that essentially what you trained to do, is like shoot under pressure, and the first thing you do is shoot the driver in the forehead? That's about as grindhouse as it gets. He obviously chokes the other guy to death, and then he injects Dale with the inhalant, because he told like Hallam like it's going to be painless. The Hallam's like, is he painless, Dale? He's like a way more unhinged Rambo.
Yeah, and the camera works good as well, because you kind of do feel you've got this literal up close, almost first person perspective in a way, and when the driver's taken out, the camera shot of that happening is really good, and the way the doors open on the van as well, very well executed.
Hell yeah. Hallam's handed over to operators, his current unit led by Dale Huna, who warns he can't be criminally prosecuted. On the way to transfer him, Hallam realizes he's to be executed and escapes, killing the operative. So I want to talk about his escape. Was really sick. I like how he switched clothes inside there. Like I like the detail. Like he made every move where you like watch like 80s movies and you're like, okay, he's wearing an orange prison jumpsuit, you know, like Hallam had every detail, you know, which was sick.
It almost felt like you were watching an action novel as well, because it has those subtle nuances in when he's, like you said, when Hallam changes clothes and he says to all the civilians, hey, get my buddies out of the van, you know, they need help, you know, call someone. And you know, there's that subtle shot of the forest in the background, so you know he's going to make his escape.
Rolling over the car,
and you see the next shot, I think, after that, of him briefly sat down on like a log, and he shouts for everybody to go look again. So whilst there's that confusion while they're going over the van, that's on its side out. He takes advantage. That was really good. I like that. Not just I know it's good sometimes leaving it to your imagination. But I just like the way that they did show you things on this, the way it was presented. Is like this is his plan in his mind in action, because then that also it was happening in real time. His training from Bonham, we were seeing that in action. This is what he's been trained to do. Yeah, exactly. And me and you have said that many times with these special forces characters. Like they show you that they had this epic origin, but then they get into the plot and they make like these simple mistakes. And me and you're like, yo, a special forces guy ain't making that mistake. You know what I mean? Like you plan for everything. You know, like your whole. It's all adaptive, right? So like you plan for these chaotic events and to be able to adapt to them in the moment, which is what that showed you. I think it gave him a lot of depth, and I think it was a complicated character, you know, like similar to John. Yeah, he wasn't just one-dimensional. It wasn't just
he just had the combat and nothing else, you know.
Unlike he's gone rogue and he's just offing everybody, and we're not going to attempt to explain why. There was a lot to Hallam, and
a lot of context.
Yeah, from what he's been through. There was, I mean, it still shows you that there's obviously this chaos and disruption going on in his mind, but the memory and the want of checking that his family are okay and still wanting to care for them in a way that is still present underneath all this chaos.
Absolutely. So he's not totally gone. He's more just like has the after effects of all those secret black ops, which obviously take a toll on you, which is like what he nailed. Also, like you're saying about him escaping in that scene, I don't want to say it's derivative, but it's similar to like The Fugitive and the U.S. Marshals, how Ford was on the run in The Fugitive and Wesley Snipes was on the run in U.S. Marshals, which is obviously the sequel. And I like Bonham kind of better than that Fugitive character though that Tommy Lee plays, because like having the tracking skills, you know, is like more thorough.
Yeah, and I'm getting a bit ahead here, but when Hallam does go to visit his family and Bonham starts looking for him in the house, and spoilers here, folks, and you see bits of stubble off when Hallam's had a shave, the toilet, subtle things like that, and that reminded me of The Fugitive as well.
Yeah, absolutely. The detail-oriented, you know, because that's what I was going to say, like, you have that whole massive unit of the FBI tracking Hallam, and they're not doing very good, but the whole thing is they're outclassed by the spec ops guy who is trained for every detail. But yet you have, like, Bonham, who's, like, on him, you know, obviously because he's his mentor with the details like that, because you said, so it's like, it's kind of like Bonham is like a step ahead of that whole FBI unit, which is like, you know, it made for a cool plot, but it's like, it was also a bit annoying how they were just like without Bonham, Abby would have probably not been on Hallam's trail at all. You know what I mean? So it's like, and even when they had him, they lost him a couple times. So
you could argue as well, as Bonham said, as you've mentioned a few times, when Bonham does burst into the police briefing, I think during the final act, and says, "Look, you know, prepare for a higher body bag. Let me try and take in my boy." If they hadn't, then that would. I mean, probably would have made it for a good movie.
For sure.
Well, an even better movie because it is good.
Part two, so like he was saying like how many deaths can you deal with, because he's already killed this many of your unit, and he'll do if you go after him, he'll do way more than that just because you're chasing him. You know what I mean?
I think as well, Ross. One thing that stands out in this movie, folks, especially for those who haven't seen it, and I've already alluded to this, is the way they use the score, the environment, both out there in the forest, in the sewer, urban scenes, to really amp up the atmosphere and tension, and to present Hallam as a very dangerous hunter, because essentially he is hunting people, which is where the dangerous game scenario comes in.
Yeah, 100%. So I'd say what we should do is this is like probably one of my favorite parts of the movie, the training montage with the 6-strike attack combo.
Dude, that was so sick.
Also the knife building, like that's my favorite part in this movie is the training montage of him teaching Bonham teaching Hallam's unit, and then and the knife building, like you said, and then how it comes full circle on that final fight when they both build their knives again to take on each other. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's like the best callback linkage, you know what I mean? Like it probably, maybe in an action movie, but certainly in this action movie. So during the knife building, Hallam has the letter narration. So I'm the one always talking about the narration, guys. So it points out, a bit like, all those other noir films and, everything else were narrated. I mean, A Clockwork Orange, of course, relied on it heavily. But, this movie doesn't have a ton of it, but where they used it sparingly, it worked really well. I really liked Hallam narrating his letters to Bonham. You were like a father to me. You know what I mean? Absolutely sick.
I'd go as far, Ross. I'd go as far as saying it's kind of like the Anakin Skywalker Obi-Wan relationship.
Yep, absolutely.
It's definitely
Student
that dynamic.
First teacher. Yeah. Or even the Kung Fu movies, the Millions, where they fight, looking. Obviously, like, I know you like the really technical stuff with the fighting scene. So it was, what was it? Arm, neck, leg, lung, something like that. So it's like he showed, and then I think the leg was basically like Achilles, right? So, and I liked.
Yeah, and then there was the final kill finish up through there, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's so sick. So I really liked how, and then also pulling the arm back, and pulling the gunsling back to disarm and open up the rib cage for the strikes, and then having Hallam do it a couple times, and then you see Hallam's like speed getting faster, and then that 6 strike was great. No, I when I was doing some Arnis with my Sifu, we were doing like the 12 strike, which is like that last, it's like with the stick in that last one, but this reminded me of like a more precise, like SOF style of doing the lethal 6 out of the 12 and focusing on the rib cage, which made sense to me,
Well, as we know, in the SOF, they won't learn that. They'll take literally the part what works and is more steadily. They're not going to stand there. That's it. And
throwing a 20 hit combo in
I loved how they showed that as well. And then, as you said, the change in speed from Bonham, where he was saying 1, 2, 3, 4, then right finish.
Right. Yeah,
that was incredible, and it was good. The camera was centering on Hallam as well, and you could see, this is one of his best students, his protege, if you like. And I did get the
100%.
sense that, like Obi-Wan with Anakin, and then we see Luke, with Darth Vader, obviously, who Anakin becomes. We want to kind of bring him back, and I felt that from Bonham. I can bring him back, I can bring him in, and I can reach him. And then, sadly, as the film progresses for his character, he realizes, no, this guy's too far gone. Sadly, I know how this is going to end.
100%, 100%. So you were talking about going back to his house and encountering his ex-girlfriend in the garage, and is that his daughter? Did they say?
I assume so. I don't think they said, but I assumed it was, and I
assumed it was too. I don't see it here, but it was either way. It was obviously her daughter who knew him. So whether it was or not, it was because she saw him too. Like Aaron, and you.
Welcome,
Slip. How you been, brother? Bonham and the FBI pursue Hallam, who hides at his ex-girlfriend's house in Portland. Tension rises between them until Hallam flees as Abby arrives. Bonham pursues him, but nearly gets hit by the car. Hallam steals. Really good shot, Gaz, backing out of the garage, and Bonham diving out of the way. That was really sick. That was the French Connection right there when he got in the car. I was like, oh, here it goes. He's going to go, full French Connection. And he didn't do like a 20-minute car chase like French Connection is, but he gave you like a little flavor of like, remember this. And I'm like, oh, nice. He's going to do it. So I thought everything was working there. They later find Hallam's silver star and a letter accusing Bonham of sending the hunters, revealing Hallam's paranoia. So a really sick city chase, and that's the other juxtaposition I like what you were saying is like starts with the most dangerous game with the hunters, ends on the knife fight in the cliffs with the waterfall, but that urban city chase right in between,
that was incredible.
Really good shots of Portland, like our man Steven Spins and Needles was saying. Like I said, I don't know if any other film really captured Portland, because obviously Rambo is up there, but Rambo is like in the woods the whole time. You really don't ever see the city or any of that stuff in Rambo. So it is Slippy.
Yeah, and Tommy Lee Jones, that's why I was saying earlier, I feel that is one of the forgotten components, because it's a very well-balanced film, very solid, as we're breaking down for folks
the urban chase.
But the cinematography is really good as well. There's some beautiful shots.
You know what? Like, because, Ebert said that Freakin' is like the chase goat. I also saw like a lot of like, I don't even know when the Bourne movies started coming out, but I saw like a lot of like Bourne in that chase when Hallam was chasing Bonham was chasing Hallam, and he was in the crowd, and Hallam was behind the truck, whatever that was, the UPS or the mail truck or whatever, and he creeped around the back, and then he realized like, oh, he threw me off. Like Bonham realized, oh, he threw me off. He doubled back, so he was like a step behind him, but he was catching it fast enough to stay on the trail. Whereas the FBI unit would have gotten lost from any of those zigzags.
Yeah, I think that's a good call, bro, because I think Bourne was it a few years after this, around the similar time?
Right around the same time. Maybe one might have been around that same time, but I felt like Bourne used a lot of those. Even if it wasn't The Hunted, it seemed like some Friedkin type chase scenes, you know what I mean, with the kind of parkour-esque whatever. But let me see what I have in my notes. I remember there was a lot of good stuff. Escapes from the house. So basically, those FBI units that. Oh, actually, I feel like there's a lot in between there before they get in the tunnel, because he chases him through the park, right? And then there's that shot, or maybe that's not yet. I think I have it in my notes here. It's coming up. Like the waterfall and stuff, like I was telling you, when he goes through the fountains and he gets the bike, he pretends to be homeless and all that stuff. That was all sick. So I guess the tunnel is before that, just before that. The agents track him into there from Abby's unit, like her captain, and I think another guy, and then like her partner, really it was, I think. And then he has the knife thrown to the dude's neck.
So is that then after he jumps off the bridge when there's the guy, the sniper on the helicopter?
I think that's later on. I think because they're down there in the tunnel, then he chases him up to the train, But the one dude, remember, he sees the body and he's like, "Don't move," because the blood is. He thinks it's Hallam, but it's actually the dead body. Absolutely. I think it was the final strike. It was like that kill strike, right, guys? 5 or 6.
I think it was a slice down the sternum. Arm. Yeah, there was a slice down the sternum, and just before the kill strike up. Yeah,
lung, arm, head, leg, heart. Yeah. So he's looking at the dude, and then there's the tunnel chase, the street chase across the fountain. Hallam's eye through the water when LT looked at it. That waterfall shot was really good shot. The edge, and then like I was telling you, the edge of the fountain was like foreshadowing to the edge of the waterfall at the end. And then of course, like Fugitive has that famous waterfall scenes. I have to look up where Fugitive was shot because I wonder if that was similar like West Coast, or I think that might be supposed to be New York or something in that movie. I can't remember. So yeah, the train sequence, like obviously the Bida. I mean, again, I haven't been to. Last time I went to Portland, I didn't spend too much time downtown, but it was my understanding from what Wiki said. It was, or I read it somewhere. I think that it was a fake train. So Hallam escapes into a sewer, ambushing and killing FBI officials, including Abby's boss, Harry Van Zant, and her partner, Bobby Murray. He takes a hostage to evade capture and leaps off a bridge. That's what you were talking about. But there's a lot in between there of when they go through the train, and then Bonham catches up to it, and he breaks through the roof. And that's when the FBI stops the train. And then Hallam takes the hostage, and he goes up that tower. Now, I gotta say, of the jump, we're assuming that was a stuntman, and Benicio didn't do that jump into the water, right? Because that was like, maybe Benicio did it. We'd have to Google it.
But you know what was good about that jump was the way it showed the posture and form when he was entering the water from
crossed his arms straight into the.
Didn't notice that was good.
Yeah. If you don't tuck your chin, you'll crack your neck on that water. You know what I mean? So that was cool. I assumed that was a stuntman because you didn't have the close up, but. Especially like Gaz said, the chopper with the sniper, and that look on Hallam's face, like that was really good acting because he was totally unfazed. You got the sniper on me, but I'm gonna jump this freaking tower, and when I hit the water, you guys are not gonna catch me once I swim out. You know what I mean? So like it wasn't scared, it wasn't fear. Like he knew he was gonna get away. Like the confidence, I really like that shot.
And the camera shot of the water as well after he landed in it
when it breaks, because he held his breath to go under. Yeah,
that was really good.
Yeah, and basically what Bonham said as well, like. Once he hits the water, you guys are not going to catch him. You know what I mean? So,
because he can swim like a fish.
Even he knew. He's like, there's no chance, guys. So tower up at the bridge, jump into the water. Dude, when he climbs down that pipe, and then obviously he starts molding the metal from all that twisted metal, like, if that was a location scout, how do you find that when you're like, hey, I'm going to make this sick survival chase movie, and then you find that location, you're like, it was the most perfect location I've ever seen. Obviously, when Bonham tracks him, they reshoot it when Bonham comes down the pipe after him, and he starts setting the traps and stuff. But I was like, I thought that was maybe one of the best locations in the movie, other than that that waterfall edge that they fight on. You know what I mean? Did you get the impression from that twisted pipe? The rusty pipe.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was saying, that's why I was mentioning earlier about the way this film uses the environment to
100%
add levels to the tension and atmosphere, particularly when he's drawn in one of the FBI agents. That scene, because there's the guy is taken out. Spoilers here, folks. Again, I should just have that constantly on screen whenever I talk.
Character unalived here.
When you see that, there's a guy who's already been placed unalive. Ross, and the agent's coming in asking him to come out. The way he draws that guy in, and then to take him out with a knife, as you see. Oh man, that was so sick.
Yeah, just like I liked his reaction speed. Like as soon as he climbed down it, he started going through the metal pipes, and he grabbed one that was like the right shape that he could. Now I don't know, because don't you have to get like a super heated flame in order to like work metal? So I don't know how realistic that was, that he was able to make fire and work the metal. But how it looked for the movie, I was like, that scene has always like resonated with me as like one of the best films, one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, and there was a good thing. Hallam and Bonham's first encounter, right just after the opening flashback. I forgot to say this. And what's kind of good is we've been mentioning a little about that student kind of sensei dynamic. And Hallam at that point is getting, in the first knife fight, I guess, is getting the better a little bit of Bonham.
Yeah.
I think doesn't Hallam disarm him somehow, and then this is what I thought was good when Bonham literally takes up like a bit of bark, a bit of wood, is trying to use that so it's better than nothing, so he can defend himself.
Oh yeah,
that was good, Ross. That was one of the good parts of realism. We've picked up on some of the other things like you've just mentioned, but that was a good scene. I thought, well, there's nothing there. The guy's going to try and defend himself with something.
Yeah, 100%. No, I picked up on that as well. I think you're right on that. How far did I get on? Talked about that.
Yeah, sorry, I took us back a bit.
Leaps off the bridge. Abby, mourning her fallen colleagues, wants to send more FBI agents to the woods for Hallam, while Bonham argues this only lead to more violence and insists he should be the one to confront Hallam alone. Hallam survives and makes a knife from metal he finds, while Bonham crafts ones from stone before searching the wilderness. There's not that much on Wiki, so we'll probably just go back to my notes real quick, guys. But basically, my favorite part of the movie, as I just told Gaz earlier on, juxtaposing that early knife-making montage with this one when they got to make the knives to fight each other. One of the sickest concepts I've ever seen in a combat movie. So we'll talk about when Hallam gets onto him, and there's some traps. When Bonham gets on him, Hallam has already created the metal blade with some. This is what I was wondering. So if it's like Pacific Northwest as well, because then there's a lot of parallels, guys. Same actor, similar locations. You know what I mean? Washington State versus Oregon. Very sick. Bonham. Okay, this is right where my notes are. So the montage, and then there's a waterfall shot, and that's basically the foreshadowing of, like, I've said this before, but like, you knew that they were going to end up on the cliffside of the waterfall for the final fight. He actually showed it to you with the camera, but it was like one of those things where, like, okay, that's a sick shot. I kind of want to see them fight on that waterfall. You know what I mean? It didn't blow it because you were like looking forward to it, you know?
Yeah, and it's future flashbacks again with the huge waterfall and that scene. I think, where he stood looking at the huge like waterfall when comes out of that. It's so long since I've seen it. Is it sewer pipe or something like that? But I love the way Hallam, he'd set the traps. That was good. I forgot to mention when. I'm
coming to that.
Yeah. All right. I'll wait till we get that part.
So it says it on this and my notes, but Bonham is caught in one of Hallam's traps and falls down the waterfall where he counters Hallam. So you know what I thought though? Tell me if you got the same vibe, because Hallam used him on the snare, and if I'm not mistaken, he. Bonham lost his first knife, but he made two, right? So the one when he got snared fell out of his hand in the waterfall, but he had another one in his belt that he used to cut the snare. And that's call back to the snare that he got the wolf out of, right? Because he used it was the wolf snare versus a human snare that Hallam used on him, right? I think I got that right.
And before that, where he evades the two logs that are coming at him,
that was crazy.
That was insane, man.
Yeah, I had alliteration for that. So the tripwire tree trunk trap is what I referred to it as in my notes. That's right out of Predator, because they tried to set that thing up for Predator, and Predator set it off. And then also there's that curved tree that Hallam is on in the camo, and that's like how there's a similar shot in Predator. So I literally had the Predator shot in my notes. So LT in my notes, I had LT is caught in the bungee snare and he falls into the rapids. Let's see what Wiki said. He's caught and falls in the waterfall where he encounters Hallam. So Wiki's getting a little short, but we have more in my stuff. So this brings us to the final fight at, what did that say? Oh, the cut slashes. So yeah, this is like an absolutely brutal knife fight, the final fight. They both wound each other, which is, like, I thought added that realism, as you were saying, Gaz, realistic blade fight. They engage in a brutal fight, both injuring each other savagely. And then it breaks down there. But there's a lot of back and forth with the reversals. They each cut each other. Hallam throws the blood into LT's eyes. Very, very grimy, like, you know what I mean, thing. The water's edge, the fighting style was very Filipino martial arts. And jump in anywhere you want, guys, if you have anything on this final fight.
No, just
break it down. So.
Absolutely the same. Love the waterfall trap. Then the final fight that they have is pretty much, it's like the first, like I said, that first encounter they have in the opening act.
Yeah. It's
amps
like
up another level. Where Hallam at first has the better, but once Bonham with his experience is getting a measure of him,
starts to adapt.
And I feel he's even more brutal. There's one of those sequences where I've seen this in so many knife fighting demonstrations as well. He literally does a hammer strike with his Ross, on his arm to disable him, then puts a knife in him. Very, very brutal. But is what you would think of people who are trained at that level and somebody who's been training SOF operatives. So I thought this was incredible. And what I liked is that there wasn't really, from a filmmaking point, very little dialogue here. Focuses on the fight. There's parts where the camera pans out, Ross, so you get a full 360 dynamic around both the characters when they're moving, so you could see the footwork as well, which I thought was good. The way 100%. They were holding the knives as well, a lot had gone into this scene. Not just we're going to try and do some knife fight, and it doesn't look very convincing.
No, it looks very convincing.
Did you notice the reaction on the cops when they arrived and they're seeing Bonham? They're going to take Hallam out, but obviously Bonham already has, because Hallam's on the floor with the knife in his chest. But their reaction, it kind of said to me, just wondering if you got this vibe as well, man. It kind of said to me, it's like, oh hell, Bonham's really, really deadly. He is what he says he is, and more so.
Oh yeah, that and also they obviously wanted to get Hallam because he killed the two cops.
Yeah.
And it pretty much established that if it came down to hand, none of those regular FBI field agents were going to be able to do it. So it really took a Bonham. But just back into the fight, like Gaz was saying. So Hallam stabs LT's arm. LT reverses the grab, pulls it out, and that's how he gets the finisher chest kill. I mean, that ending is, it's almost like an insane version of that fugitive jumping off the waterfall. That final fight in the didn't mean to hit that. Sorry, guys. That final fight in the Revenant in the snow with all the blood all over the snow, guys.
Yeah.
Seems quite similar to this. You know what I mean? I don't know if this had any influence on the Revenant, because it's obviously like a frontier movie, in a totally different time period. But in terms of a bloody knife fight that's next to water, definitely see some parallels there. Basically, after that, goes to LT back at the cabin, burning the Hallam letters, and then the movie ends on that same Bible quote. I mean, I wasn't too sure about, Abraham said, "Kill me a son." The movie started with that Bible quote and ended with it.
Yeah.
I get it, but it just didn't really have any reference. I know what they were going for, but
the same. I suppose it's one of the manners that didn't quite work. They were like we were saying, they were trying to show that father-son relationship, which could back up that the sensei student dynamic again. Anakin, Obi-Wan. That's what I think they were trying to do with that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, the Johnny Cash song worked. Man Comes Around by Johnny Cash comes in, and then it goes to some score music after that plays. Let's see.
I did like the.
Good.
I did like the shot of Bonham coming out of his cabin at the end, and then you saw the white wolf there going through the forest.
That was the one that he got out of the snare. Yeah. So it was like he saved one, but not the other. So Cotton won or engage in a brutal fight, both injure each other severely. Bonham ultimately gains the upper hand, fatally stabs Hallam with his own knife just as Abby and the FBI arrive. Hallam dies from blood loss. Bonham, now recovering at home in British Columbia, reads and then burns Hallam's letters and privately releasing his concerns in regards to the secret military operations that he was participating in. While outside gathering firewood, he sees the white wolf he saved earlier, reflecting on his past and his actions. Yeah, that's the song basically rolls after that. I really don't have too many notes. Go ahead, Guzzy.
So do you think it was a metaphor as well, them showing that white wolf, that he's had to take out the dark wolf, and he said the light wolf,
oh yeah, for sure.
How the saying goes, if you feed the dark wolf within yourself, then that's who you will become. Yeah. I thought that was quite nice as well.
Yeah, I mean,
even though I've already mentioned it.
100%. It's interesting to me that like Hallam was such a complicated character, because you really can't hold it against him for like the government like making him do those black ops and then suppressing him. You know what I mean? It's like, what, he's supposed to go back to his family after that, you know what I mean? And then obviously he did kill some like innocent civilians, which was on him, but he wasn't like some pure evil character that was like, the crazy guy in Cobra. You know what I mean? When Stallone just blows him away. Like, I like that duality to him, that, he was still like a patriot. He still obviously cared about his family, like you said. It wasn't just like some pure evil character that you're like, you just want to see him get, melted. He definitely had that complexity to him, like a Shakespearean duality,
Yeah, I think that's why Bonham also wanted to bring him in, because, like I said, I think Bonham's Tommy Lee Jones's character Bonham was thinking, I can bring this guy back. There's still some good in there when he goes to, as you said, to see his family, his former girlfriend and her daughter. And I think, if I remember this right, Ross, she doesn't really know what he does unless he's done something.
He said like, I do like projects for the government, but like you'd assume. I mean, everyone, it was in his file that he was in the Army, so. Yeah. Army veteran, I do projects for the government. I mean, even if you're a civilian, you get the idea of what he's done.
Oh, yeah. And
the type of guy he is, he's not a chef or a janitor,
Yeah. The reason I was querying... Yeah, exactly. The reason I was querying that, because there's that scene, isn't there, with Bonham, where he stood aside and they're going through like a case that's got some... there's a silver star, some letters in there, and I think then when she gets
listed, and then his profile went blank.
Then she sees who what he's really been doing, who really is.
Yeah, you're an operative. So, I mean, I just think he absolutely. I mean, so interesting enough, like Benicio was 36 in this film. What's his name? Tommy Lee Jones was 56. Like we're saying, super impressive. Like some influences I wrote down, like obviously Rambo First Blood, like we said, Most Dangerous Game. Have you seen Shooter with Mark Wahlberg?
Yes, it's an excellent film.
Very similar to the plot line of this, without some of the nuances of like Shooter's, like they try to take him out because he's an operative. He's not necessarily like killing random people like Hallam is, but like I said, that knife fight in the end of The Revenant in the snow. Ravenous, the river in Ravenous. It's Ravenous is like 4 years before this. So the water, they use the river and the water a lot up to the waterfall. That reminded me of Ravenous. Obviously, the Fugitive, because he, Ford dives off the waterfall in The Fugitive. And then, like we said, a lot of notable stuff from the director. You guys aren't going too crazy today, so we'll probably just finish Wiki, and then me and Gaz will do our ratings. You can tell we're rated high.
Yeah, I mean, there's influences in there again from Predator, obviously. Fugitives. Languages escape me now. Fugitive. Excellent. That was convenient. A mental breakdown live.
We've never had one of those before here. I have one every Saturday. So there's only a couple segments of Wiki, guys, so we'll just tear through them for you. Production. The film was partially filmed in and around Portland, Oregon, and Silver Falls State Park. Portland scenes were filmed in Oxbow Park in the South Blocks, the Columbia Boulevard Treatment Plant, and the Tom McCall Waterfront Park. And we kind of glossed over it, guys, but just that chase of when he goes into the park and he's like down that wall and he like hides under the blanket, like he feigns homeless, and then he steals that bike, like that, like how he adapted to each thing. And that was sick, dude. Like it's a quick sequence, but like very well done in terms of like seeing a SOF guy, he's hiding under the blanket, then he's grabbing the bike and he's gone, it's just like
that's what this film does so well, as we were saying, when he comes out of the crash, when he's escaped no custody. It shows you how he is using his training
instant
to adapt
reaction.
And survive.
Like that's what you want to see, because like if as well as the chase scene involving the fake light rail train on the Hawthorne Bridge. So I think they just built that for the scene, guys. But it looked sick. I mean, it looked real to me. I'm not Might surprise you guys. I'm not a structural engineer, so I could just watch an action movie and looks good to me.
Yeah, and bro, when you get further down on the production as well, folks, this was partially inspired by a real life incident. I'll let Ross get to that.
Yeah, I mean, and if you want to jump in with any of this stuff, guys, you're glad to take it. I'll do that part, and then you do the part after it. So the technical advisor for the film was Tom Brown Jr. I was reading this earlier, guys. An American outdoorsman and wilderness survival expert. This sounds like the dude that Enter the Wilderness, like Revenant prequel, is like based on. The story is partially inspired by a real life incident involving Brown, who was asked to track down a former pupil and special forces sergeant who had evaded capture by authorities. This story is told in Tom's book, Case Files of the Tracker, Chapter 2 of his book, My Frankenstein, describes Brown's tracking and fight with a former special ops veteran.
Oh, man.
Isn't that crazy? Like, dude, it sounds like somebody needs to take that chapter and directly adapt it.
I was just thinking that. And what a good way of describing that. My Frankenstein's literally the monster I created. Fantastic.
I want to see that Frankenstein on Netflix. Did you get to see it yet, guys? It won I think, for wardrobe. It won a few awards, so I want to check it out. I heard it's okay. Yeah. Let us, if any of you guys have seen that new Frankenstein on Netflix. Obviously, Guillermo del Toro, the director of Blade 2. You know what I mean? So he's a pretty big director. You take this next point.
Yeah, and it says the hand-to-hand combat and knife fighting in the film featured Filipino martial arts. Thomas Kia and Rafael Kayanen, probably butchered that, of Sayok Kali, were brought in by Benicio del Toro. Man, that's insane. They were credited as knife fight choreographers of the film. I've seen a lot of breakdowns and demonstrations of that final fight scene in particular, and from what most people have said, very accurate, very authentic, certainly very, very grimy and brutal. I haven't really heard any negative criticisms of it, so that is insane. So that just shows, Ross, we've got that real life incident there, then them bringing in, you've got the survival and wilderness expert, then bringing in knife fighting experts. Dude, that's insane.
I think it's like a way over. The other thing I was going to point out earlier is some of Benicio's like facial reactions to like Hallam's emotions. Like, obviously Gaz knows this, but like Benicio is like an Oscar winner. I do feel like at times like his performance was way overpowered for what like an action grindhouse movie requires. Not a bad thing. I mean, you're getting very good acting, but it's just like, for this is like a shut your brain off bloodbath movie. And then like at some of the scenes, I'm like, Benicio is like far out acting everybody in this movie. Yeah, I think they did do a limited run, right? That's a big thing now where they do these limited runs. I think they did that with the Peaky Blinders and Mortal Man as well, which I did see. If you guys, I wouldn't say it's as good as the Peaky Blinders show, but anyway, story for another day. So that's what I was telling you about Benicio bringing in those guys. I wonder if they worked on anything else, guys. If they did any other movies or did any other. I was
thinking that, and if they have, maybe worth taking a look at, because we'd probably like them.
Check that. If it came out anything like The Hunted, I'm sorry, this movie's crazy, guys. Like, it was super, like, it didn't get promoted because it made, $10 million less than what they spent. But I think this is the type of movie that would have did real good on like VHS and DVD rentals,
and it's criminally underrated as well. And I can't believe how low it's rated.
Let me say 3 huge names, because everybody knows Tommy Lee Jones and Benicio del Toro, but everybody knows William Friedkin too. Director of The Exorcist, director of The French Connection, Rules of Engagement. Like, his roster is actually pretty crazy. Yeah, this is a big thing now. Pixie with some knife fight breakdown links. Check that out, guys. Some scenic fights. So only 2 sections left, guys, and then me and Gaz will do our ratings. Box office for the film was less than its reported production budget of $55 million. The Hunted opens on March 14th, 2003 at number 3, about 2,500 theaters, grossed $13.48 million in its opening weekend. It went on to gross $34 million in North America, $11.2 in international, for a worldwide $45.4, almost $5. Buena Vista International handles the distro in Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Netherlands, and parts of Latin America. Columbia TriStar Film handles Finnish and Swedish theatrical through its then distributor partner Nordisk Film. UK. Redbus Film Distro handles distro under the name Helcon SK. It was released 6 June 03, despite being renamed to Redbus. I guess that's the distro company. We don't always do critical response, but this is the last section, so we're going to do it here.
I think I know which part you're going to mention, because I disagree with their criticism strongly.
Well, you respond to that. I see the second paragraph. On review aggregator, are you talking about Rotten Tomatoes, the 30% of 149 critics? These guys,
that too, but
they don't know how to watch an action movie.
Well, yeah, everything they rate is good. Just think the opposite, folks. And then you say
an average of 4.7 out of 10, which you guys are wrong. A PXF PRS correction. These guys are wrong. Me and Gaz are going to fix it in our ratings. The website's consensus reads an all too familiar chase movie that's not worth the talents involved. You guys don't know how to watch an action movie. Metacritic, which used a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 40 out of 100 based on 34, indicating mixed average. Audience polled by Cinema Score gave the film an average of C on an A+ to F scale. So none of those people know what they're talking about. Do you want to take this one, Gaz, or you want me to keep moving?
Yeah, many reviews noting striking similarities to First Blood. Not a bad thing if you watch the actual film. With which this film was unfavorably compared. Rolling Stone called it just a Rambo rehash. While there was some praise for the cinematography and the action scenes, much criticism was directed at this thin plot and characterization and the general implausibility. So let's just pause.
What was the general implausibility when they said that literally happened to the guy whose story it's based on?
Exactly. That's what I was just going to say.
Literally happened. But this happened. Remember, we had the same conversation with Heat because people said Hana talking to Macaulay in person wasn't realistic, and the real McConaughey talked to the cop that was tracking him in Chicago. It literally happened. So if you guys read a history or a crime book, you'd learn a lot.
It's like, I always remember somebody I know criticized the OG Gladiator movie. You're right to criticize Gladiator Part 2, but we won't go there. And we were criticizing the final fight with Maximus, saying like, oh, it wasn't good enough. He should have like beat the out of him more and done this, that, and the other. And
he got poisoned before he walked out there. Like, what do you want? You know, it's not freaking Bruce Lee. He just instantly adapts. Come on.
Yeah, and it was like the way this guy was describing it, like Maximus was Predator or something, Ross, and I'm just getting.
What if Commodus comes out with 2 swords and then Maximus just shoulder blasts his head off? Like, I think this movie just switched genres. Like,
yeah. Or Sicario. Yeah, I actually like Sicario 2 much better than the first.
Day of the Soldado. I like them both a lot. They both have strengths.
Is there supposed to be Sicario 3 coming? If I remember that right.
And we're reviewing it right here on Paradigm Review Show. Like, sub, share.
Yeah, Sicario 2, though, I rate very highly.
Not bad. 3 Oscars for Frankenstein. Go ahead, mate.
So, yeah, I think the UK magazine Total Film said the film was scarily exciting to watch. Well, it sounds like there was someone who at least enjoyed it from...
Yeah. The British fans, because they know, why is that? Because they know how to watch an action movie. But look at New York Observer called it ludicrous, plotless, hum tale of lurid confrontation. Plotless? Do you not PTSD. Know? yeah, exactly. Not only does he have PTSD, he has it from a freaking Kosovo-Serbia conflict where ethnic cleansing was going on, but that's never mind the social comedy. What's an international conflict? I mean, if you don't know what a war is, sure, it's plotless. If you can understand military confrontation and survivalism and special forces, I'm surprised Drew Beeson's not with us today, the Maxog expert, because this would be, and my man Tim Starr, the Ted Braden guys, you guys would be all over this because Maxog, special forces.
Do you think international conflicts for them are just Marvel versus DC?
It's the current movie theater big studio fails. Like, why are all these movies so crap? What an international conflict! I'm like, no, this movie here handles much more, serious material. But that's what we were saying about action movies, guys. It doesn't matter what Rambo, First Blood, it doesn't matter what the context is. They just say like, oh, it's a fighting action movie, so it can't have any lesson or mythos behind it, which is incorrect.
They never look at the nuances, the breakdown, the work that goes into presenting these stunts and fights. Yes, of course, you can get Right, I'm going to kind of contradict myself a little. Yes, you can get the popcorn filler action movies where it literally is eject your brain and it's still an
sure, it's not Deadly Prey. I mean, give me a break.
Yeah, but then you can still get those popcorn action movies that still have a lot going to them. This is how we made this stunt be so insane. Now, with the grimier side and the more realistic action movies such as this, there is a hell of a lot more goes into it because they want to put that believability across to the audience of somebody who's been trained to that level.
This could really happen, and it did really happen, mind you. So it's like, that argument's trash.
Yeah, to say it's got a thin plot, thin characterization,
I don't agree.
Absolutely no.
They could have went more into Bonham's origin than they did, but you know, Hallam was kind of the focus, you know, because he was the big deal. So it's like I understand why they balanced it. You know what I mean? That's the only thing I'd say. Plus, like, it was quite a similar character to Tommy Lee's like U.S. Marshal in The Fugitive and Marshal. So you don't want him turning out exactly the same as those other characters.
I mean, there is some good press. It says, you know, however, the film also received praise from other high-profile critics, particularly for the fact it kept special effects and stunts restrained. For example, Roger Ebert said, "We've seen so many fancy high-tech computer-assisted fight scenes in recent movies that we assume the fighters can fly. They live in a world of gravity-free speed up. Not so with Friedkin's characters, who reviewed the film in his own site, scored it 3.5 out of 4 stars. Time Out London was also positive, saying Friedkin's lean, mean thriller shows itself more interested in process than context. Languages escape me again. Subtlety and character development paired away in favor of headline momentum and crunching set pieces. So at least it's had some appreciation."
Yeah, so it's me, Gaz, Ebert, and Time Out London, but we're all holding the film down. But other what I was going to say, Gaz, what you were saying is the griminess and the grittiness of that final fight, from coming down the rusted pipe to him making the rust weapon to fighting on the waterfall. Like, I don't know that I've seen a grimier, grittier climax in a film than those final catalysts leading up to, like you said, when freaking Hallam is laying on his back with the knife in his lungs from the death strike, bleeding out when the FBI finds him. Absolutely insane. I mean, again, if it's too bloody and you don't like the bone crunching action, I can understand, because this film is a hard R.
I'd be interested to know, Ross, and we don't know if they did this originally, if that was perhaps reshot, that final fight. Because when you have the flashback, the training montage of the 6 strikes with the knife, I think there's across throat, lung, and there's as Stephen mentioned earlier, there's the down the sternum strike. I think that was the 5th one before the 6th, which was like the kill shot, because there was the lower strike, the sternum, and then the kill shot when he come up, under the jaw and his chin. I'm just wondered, Ross, if maybe that, and we don't know this, and perhaps there is some info out there, couldn't find any, if the original kill in that scene was the kill strike from what we saw in the training montage, as if it's come full circle. The instructor's taken out the student who's lost his way and used the deadly finishing move, for want of a better
100%. 100%. I think you nailed it. That's the whole thing in the movie. And I get it. That's a simple concept. But as Gaz said, there's a lot that goes on there with the camera angles, the setting, practical set. It looked like when he was hanging from that snare, the bungee snare, and he fell in the waterfall, it looked that was Tommy, right? They had the close up on his face, so I'm pretty sure he did that. 56 years old, he hung from his ankle on one leg and cut that rope off. And we didn't even mention when he fell in the water, dude. When he went through the rapids, dude, you crack your head on one of those rocks in the rapids and you're done. You don't make it to the final fight. You die with a broken neck. Like what was that? Apocalypto, when he jumped in the waterfall and the dudes chased him, and one of the dudes cracked his neck on the underwater. So it's like there's a movie that showed it to you. You know what I mean? So man, when he fell down those rapids, I don't know if he did both stunts, but it looked like he did the first one, which was the drop into the water.
And that was a very good call, because that final scene in Apocalypto and that chase scene's awesome.
Another epic, infamous chase, which around the same era. So I think we're wrapping to the end, guys. You didn't go too crazy today, but it's okay. If you like The Most Dangerous Game, if you like The Revenant, if you like Rambo: First Blood, if you like Ravenous, if you like Shooter, if you like... That's everything on my list. The Fugitive. If you like William Friedkin, if you like Exorcist, you know what I mean? If you want us to do more William Friedkin films, I still have to watch To Live and Die in L.A. What else do I have to watch? I have to maybe we still want to do a Gene Hackman for you guys. So maybe me and Gaz will do The French Connection for you guys. I love Rules of Engagement. I definitely want to watch The Sorcerer. I have it on my list. And then obviously The Exorcist, the finest satirical comedy that we've ever seen, to quote the Zodiac. So let's go to our ratings, Gazzy. I'll keep it short because I just think the film's fire, and we've already gave you many reasons why. It's maybe one of the sickest. All I can think of, Gaz, is like I would like to. I'm gonna show you guys something after we do these, but I would like to get like a VHS copy of this because the only I don't want to say criticism or con, but like the camera is not like a super like HD 4K crispy camera, and because of you get that little bit of grain, like when we used to watch VHS tapes back in the day, it actually plays to those grimy Portland wilderness backdrops because it brings the grime and the grit not just from the sets and the fights like Gaz was saying, but from the picture itself, the actual framing. It's not a super clear 4K movie, and I think in this context it works for this type of film because you get that dirty survivalism. I'm Hallam out in the wilderness, living in the grit and the grime, eating dirt like no man alive, John Fury. But this is a sequence where I'm like, I don't need a super crispy IMAX camera like Dune Part 3. I can live with just a little bit low res, low fi for a practical movie, like Ebert was saying. Practical fights, practical effects. You know what I mean? So it's not the. I will point that out if you're used to watching Marvel movies, like Gaz said, and you're used to watching IMAX camera. This is not an IMAX movie, right? But because the whole concept is in the wilderness survival griminess, I think it actually plays to the fact that you're just going with the pace and the chase. You're not so worried about, hey, could Friedkin shoot this with a higher res camera, so I could watch it in 4K. Like, it's not a concern in this movie. So I really think it makes you feel like that's a long way of saying, like, it makes you feel like you're out there with Bonham and Hallam, you're out in the wilderness, It's
it immerses you within the environment for sure.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Yeah, hell yeah. So, as Gaz was saying, criminal underrating on IMDb. Everybody over there owes us a like and a sub. 6.1 out of 10 with almost 55,000 ratings. A bunch of people who don't know how to watch action movies. You guys are all fired by PRS. 9 out of 10 from Ross. 9 out of 10, The Hunted, one of the most epic films. When I was saying that thing about the camera, guys, the whole time I felt like I was watching a 90s movies. Me and you always talk about these 90s VHSs, 80s and 90s that we used to watch. And this is 2003, shot in 2001, 2002, but it feels like 90s action. It looks like 90s action.
Yeah, it does. A lot of people argue that the noughties is especially the early and mid noughties is like the 90s with better internet. So yeah, it has that feel because it's that early era. It's only just come out of the 90s. It carries that vibe. Perhaps if it had been released a few years earlier, may have been received more favorably. I feel it's criminally underrated. I've said that throughout the review. It has to be 9 out of 10. I think the way the action scenes have been put together and knowing the real life case behind this and bringing in survival experts, notable Arnes, Callier, Screamer guys, to give that grime. Yeah, the way it was shot as well, Ross, it was nicely paced. The characters weren't thin either. There was more to them.
I disagree with that. That was
Tommy Lee Jones was fantastic in this. Benicio del Toro as well. Connie Nielsen, she was also strong. The score even supported the film in parts as well in some of those action scenes.
We have to look that up. I'm not sure who did that. Really good score.
Yeah, like how Predator has that notable score. So has to be 9 out of 10. A very well-rounded action thriller that I'd highly recommend.
Composer's Brian Tyler. I'd like to pull up his filmography. Ooh, looks like Marvel picked him up. So it's there's one company that was like, hey, remember the score? That was awesome. Hey, let's pay this guy a bunch of money to do
that's a sensible decision they've done for once, isn't it?
Yeah, very few, but he got away with it on that one. Looks like he did Transformers 1. He did Magnum PI. He did 1883, which is that's a Yellowstone prequel. It's arguably better than Yellowstone in my opinion. It looks like he did Scream 2022. I don't know which Scream that is. He did some Hawaii Five-0, Charlie's Angels. He did Rambo Last Blood, which we reviewed here on the channel. He did. I want to get to now we're getting to some good stuff. Apparently he did The Mummy 2017, but I don't think that's the same as the other ones. Looks like he did some score for The Fate of the Furious, but he's uncredited. Looks like he did that Power Rangers remake 2017. Never saw that. Looks like he did some Triple X, The Return of Xander Cage, which that actually had some. Didn't that have Tony Jaa and maybe Donnie Yen in it? That had a few martial artists in it. What else did he do? Criminal. Oh, that movie's sick. Kevin Costner and Scott Adkins. Gary Oldman, I think, is the agent in that movie. Criminal 2016. That's a sick movie. Avengers Age of Ultron, Furious 7, Scorpion King 4, Quest for Power. I think I saw that. I don't recommend it. I gave it a 2. He did the 2014 Ninja Turtles, Thor Dark World, Fast and Furious 6, Iron Man 3. He did Expendables 2. Let's go. Ooh. This guy's the action conductor. Final Destination 5, haven't seen it. Fast 5. Unstoppable, our boy Lou Temple was in that. He did Expendables 1, Law Abiding Citizen, Fast and Furious, which is 2009. Eagle Eye. Eagle Eye is it's like Enemy of the State, right? It's like that whack Enemy of the State remake.
I think I've seen it once.
Bangkok Dangerous, Rambo 2008, Aliens vs Predator Requiem. Okay, this guy's a good conductor, but dude,
yeah, it's not bad, bro. It's not bad at all.
Requiem was whack, but I'm sure the music is good.
Yeah,
he was like, "Hey, can you just he was like, burn me a CD of my score so I don't have to watch that movie." the Hunted, obviously. And I'm not too sure what he did before that, but solid guy. Seems like he did. Oh, it's Usual Suspects. He's the orchestrator. I mean, Usual Suspects is obviously huge. No, for sure, man. You can't. That's what we were saying about the practical sets. I mean, that's the director of photography's job, is to get that lighting right. And as you said, that's difficult to do. I'd imagine that was really difficult on The Revenant. So that's all we got for The Hunted, guys. Like, sub, share. You can always head over to the Patreon. You can plus join for a membership. I did want to do a little MMA before we get out of here, guys. Israel Adesanya is fighting Pfeiffer in Seattle. That's the Pacific Northwest. So there's your Hunted connection. Johnny Eblen versus Battle at PFL Pittsburgh. I believe that's going 10 p.m. East Coast time, 7 p.m. West Coast time. BKFC Mohegan Sun 3 going down in my old stomping grounds, Connecticut. So shout out to all those cards. Is RAF today, guys? Or I know there was a bunch of RAF press conferences, but I don't know when it is.
I don't know, to be honest.
There's a couple RAF cards, and they're going down soon. So because Colby and Dennis did the presser yesterday, right. So maybe Colby and Dennis is going down on RAF today. I don't know. And then I think rematch between Tsuzuki and that dude that he started punching last time. Oh, okay. I see what you showed me on The Fugitive. Starring Ford, was shot primarily in Chicago, Illinois, and Western North Carolina. Key locations included the Chiowa Dam. I was wondering about that for the jump scene. The Great Smoky Mountains Railroad in Dillsboro for the train crash, and various Chicago landmarks in the Chinoa Dam, North Carolina, and the train crash was in Dillsboro, North Carolina. Cool. Yeah, I don't know anything about those areas. Never been to North Carolina other than the airport. Arnold Schwarzenegger's doing another Christmas movie. It sounds like Slipknot, you're a menace. Why would you bring that up here? I mean, we've been covering the Dutch Return to Predator, the Commando 2 Matrix, and Conan 3, Conan the King. So like Dad said, of the three of those, Predator is probably definitely the worst if it's Dan Trachtenberg directing. But I don't know. So what's this new Christmas film? Is this Jingle All the Way too, or he's just going to play a crazy Santa? It'd be cool if he was a vigilante Santa, guys.
yeah, that would be. I'm kind of scared about that.
Let me see what I have in my bag. It's a bunch of gifts for you all. Like it's a bit how like Terrifier dressed up, like how Art dressed up like Santa in that third one, except just as Arnold with a bag of guns.
Yeah.
come down the chimney. Conan the King. Yeah, he's been breadcrumbing with us with that for 30 years, guys.
The man with the bag.
Called The Man with the Bag. Is it action? What's the genre? I'm always looking up. A lot of his stuff got canceled. They were supposed to do that Governor cartoon. It got canceled. Obviously, they've had like 12 Conan the King scripts, and they love to just breadcrumb with that. Not too much going on, guys. Guys, what do we have for the schedule, Gazzy? I don't know if I have. I think I have. So we're going to do a vote slot for you guys. We still need to do a show for Chuck Norris. We still need to do a show for Gene Hackman. Did we do one for DeVal, guys? We did Falling Down, but I don't think we did anything since DeVal passed.
We haven't for DeVal. We've got to get Norris back on there as well.
We're going to get Norris. We're going to do a poll for Norris. Alan Richardson's the man. I love that dude. Got in a little hot water lately, beating the bag out of his neighbor, but it happens, right? He's a cool guy. I haven't watched The War Machine yet on Netflix. Did you watch it yet, Kazi?
Yeah, don't watch it.
I mean, it doesn't look crazy, but like, me, I can eject my brain pretty efficiently. Coming up in April, Where the Eagles Dare, April 4th. The Raid Redemption, April 11th. We have an open slot on April 18th. We're going to do a poll for you guys. We might either do Normal with Bob Odenkirk, or we might do The Thing Expanded if it drops by then. Or what was the other third one that we were going to do for that, Gazzy? I think we had one more. We had one more alternate, but I forgot what it was. So we'll do a poll for that, or maybe we'll pull in a Norris. We'll bring you guys in on that. No Escape, April 25th, and that's everything for next month. And then we'll drop the May schedule when we come around to it. So I think that's the show, guys. Shout out to everybody who came through. Slipknot, Fire Pixie, my boy Steven, Spins and Needles. Go subscribe to him.
Cheryl as well, yeah.
Everybody who came through, appreciate y'all. Like, sub, share. You can click a join button for a membership. You can become a free member on Patreon with Gmail, or you can join there as well if you're feeling froggy on the 2 tiers. I think that's all. Just join us for next week for Where the Eagles Dare. And then we will come up with something for that slot. I know there was Thing Expanded, and there was Normal with Odenkirk. The Killer, 4K release for The Killer. John Woo is coming back into theaters, so check that out, guys. And there's also a new Kung Fu trailer, The Furious, with 2 actors for the Raid. So check those out. We got Odenkirk, Normal, The Furious, and I'll definitely be watching The Killer, so I'll let you guys know.
Yeah, it's a sick film.
John Woo. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It might be action comedy, but it might be an unintentional comedy, in which case we'll activate our Paradigm Review roast card, and we'll get back in the mix, because we haven't done a roast for you guys in a while. And Arnold, although he's my man, he's not above a roast. All right, guys, I think that's everything. The Hunted, go check it out if you haven't seen it. You can rent it on YouTube or Amazon. Tommy Lee Jones, Benicio del Toro, very sick. Like, sub, share, click a join button for a membership. Go join on Patreon. Sub Jack Death Gazzy at Mosh Shinobi. Shout out to everybody who came through. I think we are out. If you ever need a recommendation or a roast, drop it in there. We're going to drop a poll for you soon under posts, and we'll either let you pick one of the shows in April, or we'll drop a poll for some Norris films. You guys choose the best. Rest in peace, Chuck Norris. Rest in peace, Robert Duvall.
Definitely.
And then also Stolken, the principal from Back to the Future. He just passed as well, guys. Rest in peace to him. So a lot of actor passing.
Top Gun OG as well.
Yep, Top Gun and Back to the Future legend. So rest in peace to all those guys. So many fallen legends. But Paradigm Review Show, guys. Thank you for coming through. Appreciate the help with the links, Pixie. Glad to have you, Slippy. Watch that Sicario too, man. It's absolutely sick. I think being Gaz's both favorite, even though Denise Villeneuve directed one, so legend. But looking out for Dune 3 when that drops as well. But hey, if you see any grindhouse crime, action, kung fu that you guys think we would like, or even documentaries, we haven't done one in a while, but we'll probably definitely do The Thing Expanded once it drops. So that's all for the show, guys. Join us next week for Where the Eagles Dare. I think that's Clint Eastwood, guys, on World War II stuff.
It is, yeah, Clint Eastwood and another legendary actor. Is it so legendary now? I can't remember the name. Ross, yay!
We'll remind you next week, folks. So tune in to Paradigm Review Show, #1 most professional legendary film show on the YouTube. We're out. Peace. Just hit me up on email for any questions regarding Zodiac Files or anything else you need from the channel, or I always respond to the comments. We're out.